So today I'm going to be doing some box braids, and I'm also going to discuss some products. So the first one is the Shea Butter Network's product Trio. It's a hair butter. This is really good for type 3 or 4 hair, and you can find it on www.sheabutternetwork.org. It's a great moisturizer. And the second product that I'm going to be using is just aloe vera gel, and it's really great for just adding some water content to really dry hair. It also helps protect hair during the summer when it's out in the sun a lot. And the third product I'm going to talk about is Braid Control Foam. It's Black Panther Control Foam from I Love Diamond Edges, and it's a great kind of finishing product for cornrows, but it's also really great for putting on the ends of 3 or 4 type hair for like when you're doing medium to larger box braids. So that's what I'm going to be using that for today. At ilovediamondedges.com. You can also get it on Etsy, and you can get the aloe vera gel just kind of at Walmart or any general store. Lastly, I'm going to be using some stretch cord, and a lot of people use the gold stretch cord. I'm just going to use some blue stretch cord for an accent braid at the very end because that's what this client wanted in her hair. So let's get started. I'm just going to part a row in the back and then divide that into squares, which is kind of why it's called box braids. And then I put the Hair Trio product on the roots and just work it out to the ends and put the aloe vera gel throughout to hydrate the hair. Her hair is really dry, so I put both of those products, quite a bit of both of those products in, and then the braid control foam just at the ends. And then I'm just doing another row and more squares like that. And you can see how really nicely moisturized that Hair Trio makes the hair, and it's going to go into the braids and be really hydrated and stay protected throughout the lifespan of her box braids. So I'm just continuing to braid, and one row on top of the next row with the little square part sections, dividing the hair and braiding all the way out to the ends. And this is the type of hair that I'm using. It's called Double Triple Super X, which sounds almost confusing. And what that really means is that there are 6 single packs of hair inside of one pack. So I'm just going to take one of those 6 packs out, and then you're going to want to just take the little paper thing off of the end and then just clip the rubber band at the middle, that joins the hair, keeps it separated. So this will make about 5 braids or so of these medium to large braids. So you're going to section off a piece, and then you want to taper it, so you pull the end to a nice taper before you start braiding. This gives the ends a really nice taper. If you don't buy pre-feathered or feather tip braiding hair, you can always just feather tip your own hair like this. Just pull the ends to a taper and then start braiding so that your braids don't have a blunt end at the end. So I'm going to just wrap that around the piece of her natural hair and braid all the way out. This is a number 2 hair, and it matches her natural hair really well. It's a really great color match. So you can do just the regular 3-strand braid. You don't have to do the half and half addition like I did in my tapered braids video. You can just do a single layover of that strand of braid hair and then braid all the way down, if that makes sense. And then about halfway down, when I get to the end of her hair, I'm just going to divide each of those pieces of braid hair kind of in half, and then make a third, well, maybe not half, probably like 2/3 of each section stays, so 1/3 then goes towards the strand that was her natural hair strand. So then it just kind of seamlessly blends all the way down, and you can't tell, of course, where her natural hair ends. And that braid control foam on the ends of her hair really helps to just kind of tuck those ends in and make sure they're going to stay. And then when I get all the way to the end, I'm going to just clip it together with some of the other braids in a clip. So this is the aloe vera gel, and this is about how much, this is the hair trio, sorry. And then the braid control foam. And then I'm going to show you about how much of each I use. So for the aloe vera gel, you're going to squirt out quite a bit into your hands, about the size of like a couple grapes or so, and just work it in. This client did not come with her hair all the way detangled, and so she has a lot of tangles, and you don't want to detangle dry hair, so you definitely want to work in that aloe vera gel for its water content. I also sprayed her hair with a mixture of a few, like some drops of peppermint oil and water, just shaken up together to kind of hydrate her hair. So that has moisturized it or hydrated it just a little bit, but the aloe vera gel is going to really help. And I'm just kind of working that through. And she's, tender-headed. Like anybody who's tender-headed, you want to make sure that you work these products in with your fingers. You don't want to grab a comb and start ripping through the hair with a comb. So what I'm doing with this hair trio product, the Shea Butter Networks product, is using it to further kind of lubricate the tangles so that they come out really easily. And I'm just pulling through her hair kind of gently with my fingernails so that it doesn't pull too hard. It's almost like combing just with your fingers, and that will really help get those big tangles out and any loose hair that's kind of caught up in there. A lot of times tangles are just dead hair that has wrapped itself around hair that is still connected to the root. So you just kind of want to get that hair out of there and untangled from the hair that's growing so that you can stretch that hair into the braid, all the natural hair. So I just usually use my fingers to detangle before I start the separating or parting process into the squares, because it's a gentler way to detangle. It's also just going to really work in all of those products, because you don't want those products sitting on top of the hair, or else you'll have like kind of a white patch of that shea butter product. That's just like the leftover hair that I'm showing you, that you just want to get that all out, and that's what's causing the tangles. So you just kind of like want to get that out. That's just hair that has shed during, whether the client was wearing braids or a weave or whatever previously, that hair has just shed and it hasn't been combed out. And so I'm just, again, like going through each strand of hair and just kind of getting all of that hair out and undoing all the tangles. Meanwhile, of course, I'm also going through the hair, as I said, to just make sure that all that moisturizer is really locked in. And when it's nice and detangled and easy to work your fingers through, then go ahead and start parting. And you want to just part with the end of that rat tail comb. I use a metal comb for parting. And just, once your rows are parted, then really all you have to do is just do vertical parts to create the squares. Just, vertical parts down. And then I kind of clip each part with just a little flat clip, and then that way they stay sectioned off and separated while I braid, because definitely you don't want to have any of those random hairs crossing over the parts, because that can really pull on the client's head. It also, of course, is going to mess up the neatness of your parts. So you want to make sure that you keep all the stray hairs out of your braids. So what I do is I kind of comb just the base, like by the root, make sure that that's smoothed out, and kind of twist it with my fingers, my thumb and my first two, like my middle finger, my forefinger, and then just like twist it around and then clip it, and then move on to the next part, and just do this all the way around the row. So I'm going to show you how I start a braid, and this is just one section of the hair, and you're going to wrap the braid hair kind of around the top and hold it, and then get your finger in between those sections and start braiding with the natural hair as the third strand of the braid and just braid under. You don't want to do an over braid, you want to do an under braid for box braids, and then just continue braiding all the way to the end of the natural hair, at which point then you're going to divide each of the braid hair sections into like a little piece going into the middle part to make that third strand continue all the way to the end. Once the natural hair piece has kind of like run out. So you're just going to braid all the way down and just keep going under, and make sure that those pieces of hair just stay at an even width at all times. And you can see how nicely her hair matches this. It's totally the same color. Number 2 is the color of the hair, and it's very much the same color as her natural hair. So it's just a great blend. This braid hair is also really soft on your fingers, so it's kind of a nice fiber to use. And I'm going to go ahead and just show you how I part the hair with those clips. You can kind of see how I twisted the hair at the root to just kind of hold into the clip, and you can again see how nicely moisturized that hair is. So when the braids are all done, I'm going to just dip them in boiling water. This is a pan of water that just boiled on the stove. After I dip them in the clips, then I take the clips out and dip them again, because otherwise the ends will kind of be a little bit crimped, kind of bent in places from the clips. So you just want to kind of dip them twice, like twice dipped, and run your fingers through the ends of the braids to make sure that they're nice and straight. And this is what they look like when they're done. And just make sure you get all the water out of the ends so the client doesn't go dripping out the door. And these are the braids. And then I wrapped one braid just as an accent braid. She wanted just one braid kind of wrapped up by her face. So I just used a blue cord to wrap that braid with. It turned out really pretty. So if you want to do the cord wrapping, you just basically wrap it around the top of the braid and to anchor it, and then just under braid and then loop it around in the front crisscrossed, and then under and then crisscross in the front to get that nice design. So I hope you enjoyed this video. There are a lot of videos out there for how to do box braids. I didn't invent box braids. I definitely always pay homage to all of the ancient braiders in Africa for starting the braiding process and tradition. But I do know that each of us just has kind of like our own little twist on things. And I also wanted to review some of these products because I do think that the Shea Butter Network products are really good. And also the I Love Diamond Edges braid control foam is also a really good product.